afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and I source cars for people on a professional basis, hence the name of my channel, Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. 4 years ago, I was asked to come up with a series of videos that were filmed inexpensively. We don't use digital cameras, we don't use fluid head tripods, we don't use shotgun microphones, we wear tatty shirts, we just use a phone. But we look at cars that you can buy for a budget up to £1,000 only, and we very much enjoy ourselves. These are cars that might be in cosmetically bad condition. You might see oil leaks, rattly dashboards and cosmetic imperfections, but we go all over the country and we find these very inexpensive cars that you all seem to enjoy watching. Well, viewers, we do like Volvos on this channel. I am a member of the Volvo Owners Club, and we particularly like cars that you can buy for under £1,000. This particular C30 is worth a bit more than £1,000. It's worth somewhere between about £2,500 and £3,000, I think. But you can buy them under £1,000. In fact, Lee at LSB car sales, which is near Thatcham in Berkshire, who's very kindly supplied this car for me. He does actually have one of these. It's done like, I think it's 300,000 miles or something, but it is up for under £1,000. So my point is proven. The C30 is based on the same platform as the Mark II Ford Focus and the Mazda 3, and of course the second generation S40 like the one I've got, and the Volvo V50, and actually the second generation C70 as well. And we'll be having another one of those coming up very shortly on the channel. This is the R-Design version. It's 1.8 from 2008. I think really this car was aimed at a similar sort of person as the Volvo 480, and it sort of looks like a Volvo 480 to some degree, and also like the old 1800 ES. In fact, there was a trim level for these C30s called the ES, probably in recognition of both the 480. Most of those actually over the years were badged as an ES. There were lots of other models as well, but the majority of them were an ES, particularly when they came out in 1988, I think they came out, or 87 it was in this country. And of course the 800 ES, which is a very, very late version of the P1800, launched I think in 1971. So if we open up the boot, very different straight away from something like an S40. The platform is actually still a Focus platform on those, but it's a longer, so it's the V50 and the C70 Mark II. This car has the hard load cover. There was a soft load cover that you could get. The boot volume is something like 420 litres, but it doesn't look like that at all. It looks like considerably less than that, particularly if you have this kind of hatch in place. But a lot of people say that this is the best thing to have. As you can see, you can sort of put it down like this, and you know, it fits quite neatly if you want to sort of hide all your sort of stuff underneath the cover, which you might or might not want to do. I think if it were me, if I had one of these, I'd probably want some parking sensors. It's not the easiest car to actually manoeuvre, because the window, although it's quite big, the shape of the car is such that the back's not really flat at all. For some reason I prefer it like that. I don't know why. I keep messing around. Anyway, let's have a look under here and see what we've got. We've got a I think that's either a space saver or a full size spare. I think it just says spare tyre, so I think it's probably a space saver. But we've got sort of tray round it and things. Does this tray actually lift up, or is it just kind of fixed in there? No, it's fixed in there. I always like to see a spare tyre view, as opposed to, you know, these days when manufacturers don't actually like putting them in at all. Big glass hatch with the wiper embedded in it. And it's generally quite a pleasant looking car from the back. We've got the integrated aerial that isn't one of those ones that dangles, which is good. I've broken 2 of those in car washes in my past few, so I'm very appreciative of something like that. I think it looks very nice in this R-Design spec, particularly with the chrome mirror caps. So we'll get inside, shall we? This car's got an optional leather interior and one of the strangest feeling steering wheels I've ever seen. This is a standard wheel. There's no cover on this. It just feels a bit strange, that's all. Because it's a three-door car, viewers, I'm going to have to get in the back. That's a problem, isn't it? The seatbelt's not... because of... there we go. You're going to have to do that, aren't you? Right, let's see what this is like. Let's push it forward a bit, again. Right. Only a 4-seater, this one. Actually, once you're inside here, it's absolutely fine. There's loads of room. You can tell this is based on like a sensible car platform like the Focus, because it's not so cramped in here. And actually feels really comfortable with this optional leather upholstery. Got lumbar support as well on both the passenger and the driver's seats. The car's also been done MOT recently, while the belts are done up like that. Strangely, on the side you can see here that we've got split storage in now, which is good. You've got the sort of upper bit here and then a lower bit there, which is great. One thing you don't get, I can't see, are there any cup holders in the back? There's a 12-volt socket there, but there are no cup holders in the back, which is a bit of a shame. You'd think that actually that might be a good idea. In fact, these cars, and this is the same for I think the V50 and the S40 as well, and perhaps the C70, we'll have a look at one of those in the next episode of No Budget Reviews, is that we've got storage in front there, but we haven't got any cup holders. One thing I do appreciate about this car, as opposed to my S40, is that the door pockets, actually that was not bad getting it out of there really. I'll have to put the backrest back, there we go. Is that the door pockets are far bigger. Actually, you can put a bottle in there or something. That's probably what's missing. Whereas the ones in mine, and bear in mind, these cars are identical in some ways, like the whole kind of switchgear and everything on the door is the same, and even the sort of basic shape of it is the same. Is the door pockets are absolutely minute for no reason at all. Nice fabric there. That's actually quite nice quality on there as well. So exactly the same switchgear as well. Same light controls, same wiper stalk, same indicator stalk, same steering wheel, although this Design one is just a bit weird. It just feels like someone's put a cover on it, but they haven't. So yeah, same floating centre console. This one's a 5-speed manual. Got an air freshener. Actually got cup holders in here. Wow, someone's actually put more cup holders in here. I think this is one of the later ones. But they're pre-facelift cars that they have. The facelift was about 2010, I think, for these. And the soft touch dash as well. Key goes in there. Yeah, it's pretty agreeable, really. I wish you'd had a sunglasses holder or something, but you don't get one of those. So yeah, it feels so similar. It's really strange, but it's not quite. Glove box. See if my secret mission documents are going to go in there, viewers. Let's just see if they go this way. Yes, they do. Always happy when that happens, viewers. Unreasonably happy. We've got 2 keys of this car as well. Brilliant. Right, whilst I sort of get comfortable in here, I think it's time to have a look underneath the bonnet at the lovely Mazda L engine. Fancy gas strap. So this is the Mazda L engine. It's actually the same engine that was in the MX-5 at the time. In this case, generating 123 horsepower. If it looks like a Mach 2 Focus under here, that's because it is. The whole front structure and everything is pretty much the same. This one's had some kind of aftermarket air filter fitted on there, probably gives a little bit more performance. But very robust engines, these generally chain driven, no cam belt. I think that might be a sort of forward coolant reservoir there, but I might be wrong. You could get the Volvo white block engines in this for 2.4 and then the T5 2.5 engine if you wanted to, which, you know, for me is just a better option. This is obviously going to be more economical, cheaper to service, that kind of stuff. and actually there's a fair bit of room. If you just had a standard air filter housing on there, would probably be a bit more room with that as well, I think. But yeah, it's relatively easy to work on, I think. Although this manifold is sort of right at the front, so not too much room, but there we go. And yeah, I think it looks very nice. So nice, in fact, viewers, I think it's time for another drive. So the basic engine in one of the C30s was the same as a Mark II Focus, predictably. A 1.6 4-cylinder known as the Zetec SE or Duratec or Sigma engine, depending on your persuasion, which generates 99 horsepower. You could even get the R designs with that engine, actually. So R design doesn't really mean anything in terms of power, it just means, you know, specification, really. Next engine in the lineup is this one, the 1.8 with 123 horsepower. There was also a 2-litre version of that engine available as well, 143 horsepower. Let's just not try to kill ourselves coming up this junction. There we go. Both those engines were developed by Mazda. They're known as the Mazda L engine, although a lot of people know them as Ford engines because they were used in an awful lot of Fords at the time, such as the Mondeo and the Fiesta and things like that. It's actually, the 2-litre is a similar engine to the one used in the Fiesta ST Mark VI, which is unusual, really. Oh, there goes my trade plate at the back. It's no wonder a lot of traders don't want to use the trade plates in the rear window of the cars. They just kind of slip around and things. So the front one's okay though. If you want some extra power though, you can go for one of the larger engines, Volvo's own developed engines, the 2.4, which is probably my favourite, with 167 horsepower. It's the same one as in my S40, or a T5. Now the T5 had 3 power options depending on which model you're looking at. The very first T5s had 217 horsepower, and that was only for about a year. In 2007 they upgraded the T5 to 227 horsepower, so same sort of power as a Mark II Ford Focus ST, because it is exactly the same engine. They made some other changes to the car, some minor ones I think as well, maybe some interior bits, things like that at the same time. Right at the end of production in 2012, there was also a Polestar limited edition released, and that had 250 horsepower, which is crazy. I think they were all sort of light blue as well. There's not many that came into this country at all, I don't think. It's mainly a special edition for the US market, but we also did get some of these. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. What we do talk about is the fact that because it's based on a Mark II Focus platform, this little C70 drives really well. I like this snooky little gearbox. I think that's probably the Focus gearbox, that's no bad thing. Also, this car's done about 107,000 miles, and you'd never really know it. The steering feels tight, the suspension feels good. And you turn into this corner, steering, superb, very accurate, not overly light, just the same level of assistance that you'd really like. The R design has got firmer suspension than the standard models, but to be honest, it doesn't feel at all harsh or anything like that. I think it's really well judged in that way. I can see why people really like these. I mean, the S40 I have is a very nice car to drive. It's actually really good. This is a little bit sharper, if anything, and that's not a bad thing at all. I think the average buyer of one of these, a similar sort of person who would have bought a 480 back in the day, would like that, and I certainly do. I know it's probably things I keep saying use an awful lot, but I am a really big fan of Volvos, and I'm on my third one, and I kind of think perhaps that this is a sort of car that my lady wife might like at some point in the future. I prefer the kind of saloon body style and a bit more practicality that you get with a 4-door or 5-door car, but this, I think, just for sort of running around and things like that, would be really good. And they're not overly expensive either. Certainly I prefer one of these to a first generation 1 Series, for example, or even an Audi A3. You know, this is more of the sort of thing that I prefer, but you know, your mileage may vary. The 1 Series do handle very well. I have driven one and they are quite nice in that way. But yes, I'm very grateful to Lee for letting me go in this lovely car. Lloyd Vehicle Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below. Let's now look at some Volvo C30 trim levels views. We have the ES, as previously mentioned, the S, the SE, that was the most common one, the SE Lux. The SE Sport was kind of like a predecessor to the R Design. The R Design, the R Design Lux, the R Design SE, the administration error R Design SE Sport, which is superfluous, and the R Design Sport. So actually, from the later cars, you could get things like blind spot monitoring, so a very safe car. 0 to 60 in this 1.8 model is about 10.8 seconds apparently. One of the things to watch on these is actually rust. It's same as a Mark II Focus. For some reason, the longer Volvos on this platform, the C70, the V50 and the S40 Mark II, they don't have the same problems with rust. These shorter cars, which is the C30 based on the standard Focus platform, have the same issue with Focuses that they can rust underneath, so do watch that. Also, the engines that are 1.6, 2.4 and T5s have a timing belt to worry about. These 1.8 and 2 litre Mazda engines don't. But generally they're pretty good. This car's done about 107,000 miles and it feels really fresh actually, considering. And yes, I can't believe actually how cheap these are still in comparison to, I don't know, BMW 1 Series or something like that. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video and comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more inexpensive motoring.